Welcome back to Sami NGO'S YouTube channel, the best place for all things money and medicine. Today, I'm going to share my debt-free journey, specifically how I paid off $150,000 of student loans in less than 5 years. And I did it all without a sugar daddy and without working 80 hours a week at 2 miserable jobs. If you want to learn how to aggressively pay off your debt, keep on watching. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to pay off your debt by creating a financial plan with 3 easy steps. And you'll learn how to take advantage of all the free financial tools available to you on the World Wide Web. And I'll give you my exact timeline, step by step, and give you real numbers on how I was able to pay off my debt while living in a big city like San Francisco. And if you stay till the end of this video, I'm gonna share something that I haven't talked about on my Instagram or my podcast, and something that I did that was very risky, but it was a big factor that helped me pay off my student loans a lot quicker. So before we get started, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and subscribe and don't forget to press the like button. It really helps support my channel. With that said, let's dive in. To start, you need to create a financial plan to pay off your loans in 3 easy steps. Step number 1, set a deadline to pay off your loan, like it's your wedding date. Why? Because if you give yourself 10 years to pay off your debt, you will pay it off in 10 years. But if you give yourself 5 years to pay off your loans, you will pay it off in 5 years, which is something you want to do. So for example, if your goal is to pay off $150,000 in 5 years, you will set your loan payoff date to June 2nd, 2026. And if your average interest rate is about 7%, you'll need to pay $2,972 a month for 5 years to reach your goal. Now, how did I calculate that $2,900 number? I used an online student loan calculator to calculate how much money I need to pay a month to get rid of my debt by my deadline date. I recommend using Student Loan Hero Payoff Calculator. It's a great resource. It's free. I will link it below in the comments. Step number 2 is to create a budget. When creating a budget, you need to first calculate your after-tax income. This is your take-home income after all the taxes have been deducted. Websites like smartcity.com and paycheckcity.com can calculate this for you, so you don't have to do the math. You simply input in your salary, location, and the hours worked, and ta-da! A magical number appears in front of you, and that number is your after-tax income. Once you know your after-tax income, you will need to commit to a zero-based budget. With a zero-based budget, you essentially assign a job to every single dollar. Some dollars will go to student loan repayment, some will go to an emergency fund, and the rest is assigned to different spending categories. Groceries, phone bill, etc. And remember, no 2 people will have the same budget or the same numbers. Your budget will depend on your household income, cost of living, your debt, and your spending habits. When you are creating a budget, you need to learn the importance of paying yourself first. I'm gonna say that again, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first is an investor mentality and a phrase popular in the personal finance industry because it basically means you should fund your own savings and investment account first. You are paying your future self by saving for long-term needs and expenses. This means you need to be intentional with your money and prioritize pay off your student loans first before you do anything else. You want to pay your student loans before you have a chance to even touch your paycheck and spend it on useless crap. The earlier you get out of the debt, the earlier you reach financial freedom. We'll go through a step-by-step on how to create a budget in next week's video, so please stay tuned for that. Step 3, live below your means. Step 3 is basically doing what you say you are going to do. You already created a financial plan. Now it's time to take action on this plan. Let me tell you, sticking to a budget will be the most challenging step of all. You have to track your monthly expenses, and the first 3 to 6 months will be an adjustment period to determine how much you plan to spend and how much you actually spend. In this step, you'll become hyper aware of all your terrible spending habits, like a few dollars here for lattes, a few dollars here for brunch with the girls, and then a bachelor party, and before you know it, you just spent $1,000 a month YOLOing. I mean, come on. I've done that. I'm sure you have too. So things that helped me stay on budget was very simple. I limit eating out, I cooked more, I brought my lunch to work every single day, I downgraded to a cheaper gym, I canceled unnecessary subscriptions like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, and cable, and I negotiated everything. You know I'm a big negotiator. Apartment rent, internet services, cell phone bills, you name it, I've done it. And I traveled to much cheaper countries like Asia and South America when I needed a break from the real world. Another important tool that really helped me stay on budget is financial meetings. If you follow my Instagram stories, you know my husband and I are religious about having a monthly financial meeting, sometimes even bi-weekly meeting, just to reassess our spending habits and our goals, and we adjust our budget as needed. We set new monthly goals, we track our progress, and tracking your progress is so important. I cannot stress this enough, because when you see progress and you see the number going down, you are more than likely to stick to your goals. Some people like to see charts and graphs that are offered on budgeting apps, and others, like my friend, wrote her big total debt number on this wall in her house, and every single month she subtracted that number down to visualize her progress. And after like 3 years, it went from this big of a number to this little of a number. So now let's just reiterate. The 3 steps you need in your financial plan is 1, set a deadline date to pay off your loans, 2, create a budget, and 3, live below your means. And of course, track your progress while you do so. Now, let's move on and let's talk about my personal debt-free journey. My journey started in 2012. I graduated PA school and accepted my first big girl job in Fairfield, Connecticut in an outpatient internal medicine office with a salary of $90,000, excluding any bonuses. At this time, I was 26 years old, living alone in a small 1-bedroom apartment, paying $1,100 a month in rent. I made minimum payments because I want to do the standard 10-year loan repayment. I was paying about $1,650 a month. Here's the kicker. I just plugged in my salary on paychecksave.com, and I found out that my monthly take-home pay at that time was $4,744. So after rent and my minimum student loan payment, I had about $1,900 left a month. So what did I do with that money? Well, some of it went to groceries, some went to my phone bill, utilities, but a lot of that money went to YOLO, you only live once. I shopped at Whole Foods. I got a fancy gym membership. I bought a new Banana Republic wardrobe. I traveled to Italy, Switzerland, Colombia. I went everywhere. I was YOLOing for about 2 years after graduation, and I didn't even notice the gradual lifestyle creep. The more money I made, the more I spent. At that time, I was young and dumb. I didn't think I had a problem. In fact, I thought I was actually financially smart with my money. And get this, I didn't even contribute to my retirement because I was like, well, I really just want to pay off my debt really aggressively, so let's not put any money towards my 401k. But what I do, I just end up spending more money, and I just didn't have a financial plan. Big mistake. It wasn't until year 3 that I realized I have no money. Literally making a 6-figure income and had nothing to show for it. My boyfriend, now husband, and I wanted to get married. We wanted to throw a big fancy wedding and buy a house and have kids, but we had no savings. I had, I think, $2,000 in my account at one point, and I was making about $100,000 a year at this point. By year 3, we decided to leave Connecticut. We moved to San Francisco. We were living our best life in North Beach, San Francisco. I was dumb enough to pay, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, $2,700 a month in rent. I was living in a 500 square foot studio, and it was a beautiful apartment, my favorite place. And my neighbors, my backyard actually was Fisherman's Wharf. I mean, best time of my life, but come on, it was not financially smart. And it was during that year, year 3, when I had my big epiphany. I began a reading finance book, and I began my debt-free journey. I didn't really have a plan, but I wanted to contribute a little more money each month to my student loan. So I was paying maybe like $2,000 to $2,800 a month. And year 4, that was the big game changer. That's when we left San Francisco, we moved to Las Vegas. And this is a big year for us because we decided we want to tackle our finances aggressively because we wanted to start our lives together. This was when we started saving more money, not because I wanted to pay off my debt, because we wanted to get married. We got engaged, and we decided to leave the city, San Francisco, and move to the East Bay, Emeryville, which is about 30 minutes from the city. We got a 1-bedroom apartment paying about $2,100 a month with parking, which is huge, you guys, huge. It was a big deal. And year 4 was the year we got married in Bali. We saved up $30,000 cash to pay for our wedding, all while paying down my debt. We also took a 6-week honeymoon to Taiwan, Indonesia, Nepal, Burma, Maldives, because I was a bougie person and that's what I want to do. And my honeymoon was not cheap, but we did pay for everything in cash. And when I got back home from my honeymoon, we got pregnant. Well, I got pregnant. And I decided to leave the city and move back home to Las Vegas because I had my parents that's gonna help with childcare, and it was gonna be a significantly lower cost of living. It was a really tough decision, but ultimately the best decision. We were so excited to move back home because everything was so cheap. It wasn't San Francisco. I even thought I could upgrade to a Lexus and a BMW, because I had a really ghetto 2012 Jet at the time. And I thought we were saving so much money and I can buy a new car. But I didn't, and that was such a smart thing because we were saving about $1,200 a month on rent. So I took that money and put it towards my loan instead. We rented a modestly cheap 1-bedroom apartment in Las Vegas for about $1,600 a month with a newborn baby. So I went from paying $2,700 a month to $1,600 a month. And the key was I didn't use that money for more stuff. I didn't need more stuff. Instead, I put that money towards paying off my debt. And I went ham and doubled my minimum payments. I was paying like $3,200 to $4,000 a month on my loans, and I was actively trying to track my monthly expenses and cutting corners where I could because I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when I started the new job in Las Vegas, I also negotiated a $30,000 sign-on bonus and relocation expense. So at this point in year 4 to 5, I had about $50,000 left on my student loan. And I did something that was very, very risky. So this is not financial advice. I talked to my brother and he suggested that I do a balance transfer on my credit card. I had no idea this even existed. I didn't know what it was. He explained it to me and I realized, but I don't have a $50,000 credit line, but he did. So he opened a new credit card for me with 0% interest on a balance transfer for 12 months. This meant I had a credit card for 12 months with no interest. This means I can pay off my loans in 12 months easily. So how does a balance transfer work? Let me explain this to you. So essentially, your credit card company gives you a check for me, in my case, $50,000. So I take that $50,000 and I pay off my loans to the government. Now the government says, you're free. You have no more debt with us. However, now I have the debt with a credit card company, $50,000. Except they're giving me 0 interest for 12 months. 12 months. So if I was able to pay off that in 12 months, then done. But if not, if I wasn't able to pay off 50 grand in 12 months, then I would have been big, big trouble. But keep in mind, I knew I was getting $30,000 for a relocation and sign-on bonus. I knew the money will come in about 3 months after I started this new job, but I knew it was coming. This meant I only needed to pay off $20,000 in 12 months on this new credit card. I knew this was doable because I was already paying about $4,000 to $5,000 a month for the last few months. And I did exactly just that. For about 5 months, I paid off my entire student loans. And let me tell you, it was the most liberating feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. I was free. I was finally a free woman. I probably should have celebrated and threw a big party, but I had a 6-month-old baby at the time that was crying and wasn't sleeping. So the celebration lasted less than 10 minutes. Womp, womp, womp. But here's the best part. After I paid off my student loans, I realized I have $5,000 a month of disposable money. I didn't have any loans anymore. I had $5,000 a month to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And that was when my husband and I decided we really needed to get serious about paying or for saving for a down payment on our house. With the tools that we now had in our pockets, it was very, very easy to save up $120,000 for the down payment of our house. And we did that in a little over a year, I think like 15 months. And once we made that first down payment on the house, we had an extra $5,000 or more a month for something else. And we didn't really know what something else was. So we started to read more. And that was when we decided to invest about $8,000 a month into our investment accounts, our Roth IRA, our HSA, our taxable brokerage account, our high yield savings account, our 401k, our crypto, our real estate investment, all of this stuff. And it was just so insane with how much money we now had because of what we were saving. So do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? That changed my life. I'm officially debt-free besides my mortgage for over 3 years now. I have no chains weighing me down. I feel completely different. So how has life changed since then? The world is different. I have more money and I also have more options in my life. I finally feel like I have control of my life and my life back. And it all started because I got rid of my loans. And I wish I did it much earlier. I wish I knew what I know now, but I didn't. I had nobody to guide me, nobody to teach me, nobody tell me how to handle my finances at 26 years old. And that's what I'm trying to tell you right now. Pay off your debt as quickly as you can. Make a plan, stick with it. You can easily pay it off in whatever it is that you choose, but be realistic, stick to the plan. I promise you, if I can do it, you can do. I am so excited to share more of my journey. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe down and support my channel. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you being here. I'll see you next week.